Hello YouTube! Today we're gonna talk about how to switch from a bulk to a cut. Specifically how I do it personally throughout the year. I often share like full days of eating, that kind of stuff, mostly on Instagram, but still, and you see what kind of things I'm eating, and if you follow me for a while you can see how it progresses. But it's still it's months apart, you can't really figure out what the change actually is and so on. So I figured I would make a full video here on YouTube where I can of exactly how I make the changes at each stage. Meaning, going from deep bulk where I hate food to deep cut where I'm fucking starving. So yeah, all of these changes are going to be shown from memory. So there might be some minor errors. So what we're going to start with is a deep bulk. Now, for the record, I don't have all the ingredients here because I am like midway through a cut, maybe like 2/3, hopefully. So I don't have a lot of the stuff that I normally eat during the deep bulk because, well, I don't need it, so it's not in the house. But I'll include like pictures and or videos from the full days of eating like somewhere on the screen to show you exactly what I mean. So when I'm bulking, I'm usually like 4,000 calories-ish towards the end of it, like at the end of the 8-9 months, however long it takes. So there's a lot of food. Meal one is usually oats, just a fat bowl of oats. I pimp it out. Like there's like cocoa powder to make it chocolatey. There's protein powder, obviously, to get some protein. I put a ton of almond butter, which I don't have, to really get, to get all of the fats up. If I'm like deep and I hate food volume at that point, I might add even honey more just to make it even nicer. And I finish it off with a protein bar usually. It gives me like 1,000 calories straight from the get-go. First meal of the day, 1,000 calories in. And I really love that meal. So it does help make it, go for longer. Now, I do change when I eat and when I train, when I'm bulking, but to make it simple, I'm just gonna keep it at the same timings as I have it now. So meal two, I usually have like 2 protein cups, puddings, yogurts, whatever, and I'll have it with like tano muesli in it. So that again, I'll have that. So that's meal two. The nice and I'm keeping the volume low with as much calories as possible because at that point I really do hate food. Like I'm chewing all the time, you're shitting all the time. Like you eat 5 meals a day, you take shit 5 times a day. It's fucking annoying. Then meal three, which is chicken and rice, just like a lot more rice basically, and bowl of frozen fruit, which defrosts and then I have it, to eat. That's my pre-workout meal. Then within training, I have cyclic dextrin with EAAs. It's just creatine, don't worry about that. It's just carbs and protein to drink during training to improve the training and to give me more calories. Post-workout meal, another chicken and rice, same thing as before, just without the fruit. I do actually sometimes have like a banana or something on top of it as well. If I need the calories, which at the end of it I will. And then meal 5, so the last meal of the day is that's beef, just cut up into pieces, gnocchi, and deep bulk. I have a bag of pop chips with it, as I might be known for. So there's a bag there, right? First change when switching from a bulk to a cut, I forgot. With meal 2, I also have rice cakes, so like 4 whatever rice cakes with either Nutella or like Biscoff spread on top of it. So that's 2. So you can see there's quite a bit of like quote trash. There's like pop chips, there's like the biscuits, there's the muesli, that kind of shit. Honey, well, honey's not trash, but sugar, purely sugar, just to get the calories up. Again, you hate food. So at the end of it, 2 things. One, there's quite a big switch because obviously all of that was to get me in a surplus, to go from surplus, not to maintenance, but to a deficit. And we need to make a big jump. So there's usually like 400 calories-ish that we drop to get me back in a deficit. But also because at this point, I hate food volume-wise, I don't actually cut out the trash first, which would be something that you would normally do if you're like kind of hungry already. You just cut out the trash because it doesn't it doesn't reduce the food volume, but you get a lot of calorie, you decrease a lot of calories. But since I hate food, I'm not actually going to do that. What I do instead usually is decrease the portions in these three. So what I'll do is I'll probably remove the banana usually, because at that point I hate them as well. So I remove the banana. I decrease the portion of the gnocchi. That's usually, on the end of a bulk, I'm doing like 300. So I'll decrease it back to 250. And then I decrease how much rice I'm having. So deep bulk, I might be having 150 grams raw, dry, whatever, each. I might drop that to like 100, which between those three, it's probably like 120, no, 120, so 30 each. So 60 grams of rice, 50 grams of gnocchi and a banana or whatever. It's mostly carb reduction. It decreases like 400 calories-ish. So that's the first step, just decreasing the volume, because again, I hate food at that point, right? Second step, so once, I'm not going to be counting the changes to like cardio and stuff. That's irrelevant right now, but obviously they are happening in the meantime, cardio and steps. Second step, I usually still hate food. So again, I go a bit more with the volume reduction. So I'll probably reduce the remaining 20 grams of rice. So like another 20 grams of rice each, bringing me down to 100. And I'll probably reduce how much fruit I'm having to 250 usually instead of 300. So again, that's a bunch of carbs that I get to reduce. And I get to do less volume and so on. Now we're like 3.4 thousand calories. Now we're getting to a territory like, right, we need to start taking out the trash, because I do get, like, my maintenance is around 3.3, like somewhere like that. So that's when I start to get a little bit hungry at this point. We're like, I don't know, 4 weeks deep. So I'll go, cool, let's start reducing some of the other things. So what I'll do, I'll reduce this, because during bulk I can have 40, 50 grams. I bring that down to 25, and that's where it stays for the rest of the cut pretty much, until I'm like deep where I can't have liquid calories anymore, because I will be starving. So I'll just get rid of it. But I'll more on that later. But I'll drop that to like 25, so that's 100. Then I'll probably remove the rice cakes and the biscoffs and the Nutella, so that's another like 200-300 calories. Oh, two more like. So again, that's the next step, right? Removing a little bit of fat, bunch of carbs. That's step 3. Now, we're getting to a territory where, right, I still need to play the volume game, but we need to start making changes, right? At this point, so the next one is I'm probably going to remove a bit more gnocchi again, so bring me down to like 200. And then fruit, again, 200 instead of 250. And I remove how much, what's the word, muesli I'm having in these, or granola is what I'm using. Because they're like 50 grams, usually I bring that down to like 30. And okay, cool. That's another step. And then the next step, now we have to start switching meals, because it's starting to get, lower. So these 3 meals, there's like 100s, 200. So this meal, I'm not going to be touching anymore for now, even though the pop chips is still there, at 3.3. Pop chips are still there. At this point, the next step, I'm removing the rest of this in terms of I'm getting rid of the rest of the muesli, and I'm removing the pop chips. It's a sad day each time, but it has to be done, right? So I'm basically removing more trash to reduce the calories without too much volume. Pop chips have a bit of volume, to be fair, but it's not too much. So that's the initial change. Like the first 5 steps is just reducing what I have just in smaller amounts, removing some bits and bobs. Now changes come. This is like change number 6. This is maybe 12 weeks deep. So it's already getting to a stage of like, right, hunger is there, cravings are there. We need to tighten this up. Next step, I remove the oats altogether. I actually forgot to mention earlier than this, like 2 steps before, I removed the honey, because it's just there to give me extra calories. Like I don't need it there. It's mainly the almond butter that does the taste. So honey gets to fuck off, right? At that point. and this. Now, at this stage, I removed the oats altogether. I could have them, instead of 800 calories, I could do like 400 version where it's just the oats and a little bit of honey and protein powder. And it would be fine. And if you can do that, that's fine. But like I fucking despise oats unless they're done in that very specific way. If I do them in that specific way, it's just a ton of calories. So it's a great bulking food, but I have to remove it during cut. Otherwise, if I keep it the bland stuff, I'll put a shotgun in my mouth. So I remove it. Now you notice it's looking not exactly voluminous. So there's gonna be a switcheroo happening. Meal number one, I actually move these here, just have this. Except, I actually remove these and I replace them with cottage cheese. Because it's roughly the same volume, but for a bit higher calories, but you get a bit fats. Because I just removed like 40 grams of fat from that meal because of the oats and the almond butter. So I need to replace at least some of it somehow. So I actually have cottage cheese here, yeah, on its own, just 400 grams cottage cheese, nothing else. Meal two, I have still the protein bar, and I add this, which is, it's purely from Czech Republic, you can't get it anywhere else. It's like a type of ripe cheese, but it's fucking amazing in that, it smells, but that side. It tastes amazing. It's a required taste, but it tastes amazing. But most importantly, the numbers are fucking exquisite. This pack, which is 125 grams, has 1 gram of fat, no carbs, and 35 grams of protein. It's pure protein. There's a ton of salt in there, but with my liquid intake, it's fine. If you were to eat this pack as a normal person who drinks 2 liters of water, you're in trouble because there's like 6 grams of salt in it. But if you, like me, drink like 5-6 liters, it's fine. So that's more like a snack really, but meal number two, let's call it, is just to get me through the day before I can have like a real meal, and then the rest of the day is fine. The next change, now we're just talking numbers, because I'm removing rice, usually like from 100 down to like 80 grams or so. And that's actually where I'm at right now at this stage of the cut. So I have this for breakfast, I have this for meal two, I have 200 grams of this, 80 grams of rice, and chicken is always 150. Again, chicken and rice, same amounts, 200 grams of gnocchi and beef. And this during the workout. This is where I'm at now. Next change, I'm gonna have to remove something else. So I'm probably gonna be removing how much rice I'm having from 80 down to, well, it depends how much of a big change there is. Because at this point we're making smaller changes and we're aiming more on the expenditure, so like more steps, more cardio and so on. But I'll probably, this may go down all the way to like 50 grams if need be, which is bullshit for someone my size, but it is what it is. So it might go down by 30 grams each. So that's another like 250 or something. At one point, I switched to cottage cheese. I already did this to these because they have the cottage cheese is like 20 grams of fat. This is like 2 total. There's carbs in there, but it's less than the fat, so it's fine. At that point, it gets tricky because something has to go. And, I don't want to give up anything. But once these are done, I'm removing the gnocchi. Like at that point for dinner, like the carbs are important around the training, but not as much for the rest of it. So I remove the gnocchi. I just have beef and veg in the evening and that's it. And then the next step, I'll get rid of this. I usually try to hold on to it as much as I can because it does help with the training. But, eventually liquid calories just don't make much of a sense. At this point, I'm down to I don't even know, 1,800 calories maybe. At this point, I should be done. I shouldn't be needing to go any lower than this for my intents and purposes for how deep I need to go. If I'm trying to go dick skin lean, I would try to stay shredded, I would probably have to remove the fruit as well. Or literally remove all the rice and just have meat and fruit for before and after, something like that. That would be the rough setup of this. And then if there's still need for another, I might just fuck this off because there's actually quite a few carbs in this. Well, quite a few. There's like 25 between them. So I might check this off for different cottage cheese that's light, so low fat, no fat. The reason I just don't go from cottage cheese to low fat cottage cheese is because it tastes like ass. It's not in a fun way. It's just not nice. So I don't do that unless I absolutely have to. At which point, like, that's going to be the final of my cut. Usually, I shouldn't have to. Like, at that point, I'm down like 1,600 calories. I shouldn't have to go below that personally, because of my size, because of my activity levels, and so on. So at that point, I'm shredded, and I don't have to go lower. So that is how I go about my cut changes. Again, there will be changes to expenditure in the meantime. Right now, most of my changes that are happening, you know, as I mentioned, like, there's not that much room to go at this point. I still have a little bit of fruit, and maybe I might decrease how much. Actually, I still have the gnocchi. So I can sack off the gnocchi, and I can reduce the rice and a little bit of fruit. That's it. So as of now, we're mostly focusing on, me and my coach, to increasing expenditure. I still have some time. You know, I can do like 15 minutes more of cardio each day after training. I can increase my steps by like 2K-ish still on like each day. So those two between them should still mean like save me like a few, you know, that should drop like, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe even 10 pounds between them if I'm lucky. Though it's been fucking stubborn lately. And then we'll see. But yeah, that's how I go from a deep bulk to a deep cut in terms of food. In the next video, which I'm going to film right after this, we're going to do it in the opposite. So if you're just finishing a cut and you need to go into a bulk, how should you do this without getting fat? How do it nice and slow? So that's what we're going to do. See you there.